What's up, guys? This is a video for the dots bias indicator, specifically how I use fibs, either to support the dots or as potentially a headwind, and when to be cognizant of, when to be careful, I guess, with the dots. So basically, I look for swing points. I use the word obvious, so obvious swing points. So you can see this was, I think, NVIDIA earnings. So we got a swing here. You can see price, high, low, higher, low. So it just fits my eye. I don't know how to explain it, how else to explain it. It's just an obvious fib pull for me to use this low to this high. So this is a 15-minute chart going down to a 1-minute chart. And the main fibs I look at are the green line, which is 50%, which may or may not be a fib, but markets, they like to use the halfway backs or 50% of a leg of a move, whatever you want to call it. So 50 to 61.8, and then the 38.2 or 0.382, whatever you want to call it. So this kind of box, more specifically the 50 to 61.8. And so when I am looking at this chart, and so you can see, so the market opens up, we got a 1 dot entry function here. It traded its 1-minute ATR, but that's neither here nor there. So when I'm looking at the dots turning bearish here, so I want to use the dots in conjunction with other confluences. So this is exactly what I was looking at when price was coming down into this area. So dots were green, then they were mixed. When dots are mixed, I don't think price action is worth trading. Usually it indicates chop, which it kind of was. So we get all red dots here. And so obviously red equals bearish. So I'm looking at price and I see this fib. So from low to high, I'll even go before the 50%. So just think about how you view support. I use the 50% level, the 50% fib level right here as support. So I don't want to take any bearish setups after price has taken 50%. I'm using the 50% as a draw on liquidity. So we are 19. We're like about 40 points, 30 to 40 points away. So that's kind of in line. The ATR is 37. That's pretty much in line with what I'm expecting in terms of price movement. So if the dots turn red, this is what's going through my head. So dots are still mixed. So this blue line is VWAP. Price has closed below VWAP. If this candle was wicking VWAP and unable to close, that would be a red flag to avoid going short. But this 1-minute candle closed below, and this sequential candle, 1-minute candle, also closed below, and even a bearish hammer if you want to get into candlestick reading or whatever. So right now, we get our first column of all red dots. So we have not hit the 50% level. Price closed below VWAP for 3 candles. So this was a bullish candle right here. But this warrants a trade to me. So short, use 40 points ish as a target. And the 50% as a draw on liquidity. So you can see that this setup worked, and I'll show you why this next dot setup would have been avoided. So this is the kind of reaction. So we get a high, low, high, low, high, low into a 50% area that I view as support and a potential reversal. When this high gets broken right here, I don't want to be a part of any more shorts. So break a structure shift, whatever you want to call this, change in state of delivery, whatever term you want to use. I think maybe some people in the room tried this one dot entry function right here. So I want to take dots to liquidity or to a 50% fib. But once I saw price react and have a structure shift here, I didn't want to be involved. I actually took a long here and then got out about halfway. That was my one and done trade today. But so yeah, so 50% are a headwind as far as I'm concerned. And I want to use the dots as a confluence with a bunch of confluences in my favor. Yeah, and I just want to be very picky with my setups and just using 50% levels. That's why I didn't, I would not have taken this one dot entry function when it presented itself. And then I got long around here, and then I was just targeting, again, 50%. So I think I had like a 40-point move. Yeah, from like here to here. So again, you can see price kind of stalls here at the 50%. We had initial balance that didn't end up working. But again, when dots are mixed, I do nothing. Had the dots turned red, I would have been targeting these lows, but they didn't. And then you can see price went for these highs. So I'll try to point it out as I see it in Discord and on Twitter, but how I like to use fibs, probable Chris and Q Stats, he did a good little video on how he uses, not necessarily fibs, but basically what I'm looking at with market structure and how to line that up with his and Q Stats. So I would highly recommend watching that video. I'll put a link in the description. But yeah, and then, low to high, and then see what happens. 38.2, you can see that the 50% gets front run. So noon curve would be looking for a high here. Again, 50% front run, this 38 level traded. Pull back into this fair value gap. So this didn't necessarily have the dots with it, which I was done for the day, but that would have been a no-brainer trade. And then dots during lunch. But yeah, so it's all about putting market structure together in conjunction with the dots. What I use, VWAP, just whatever suits your eye, whatever fits how you like to trade. Yeah, and that's that. So fibs, dots, it's a solid combination, and I'll try to share more info as I see it. So thanks a lot. Have a good day.